Hello, hello, hello. How are we doing tonight? How are you guys doing? I'm doing great. Our gate is so slow. Just got done watching Pose with Alex, and I'm gonna turn the defrost on. Oh, so sad tonight. Have you watched this episode of, it felt like almost kind of like the series finale. Alex was like, is this the season finale? And I was like, no, I don't think so. Hold on a second, who was texting me? I was like, no, I don't think so. And so we looked, and it's not. I think next week is the season finale. I don't know if it's getting renewed or not, but like there was a lot of endings to it. It was very sad tonight. And I mean, not sad. I mean, it was sad. There was a lot of sadness in it, but also like bittersweet kind of stuff in it. Anyway, I don't know. I love the show. I think it's so great. And then we were just kind of hanging out talking. I'm on my way to go get a fountain pop with Tanya. I told her I would be there like an hour ago, and we sat there and talked so long that I texted her. I was like, okay, I'm on my way. She was like, okay. But I think she said okay. But anyway, so yeah, we were just catching up. I was telling Alex about my friend being back in town. I was going to hang out with him tonight, but I think we're going to hang out tomorrow night instead. I think that's a coyote over there. You have to be really, really careful of your little dogs taking them outside because of coyotes. Did you know that? Like, coyotes were killing a lot of dogs, like in our neighborhood a couple years ago. They were coming for like small dogs, so you can't just like during the day it's not as bad, but like at night you have to be out there. And supposedly, like if they hear your voice, somebody told me this, it may have been on a vlog, if they hear your voice, then like they'll go run away. Like if they hear a human voice, or they like can sense you out there, like coyotes won't come near people typically. This is all, I don't know if this is true, this is what I've heard. So if you're like, if your dogs are outside, especially at night, like if you're out there with them, because they usually prey at night, like it's, you know, then you can help them. But anyway, so my day, well, I wanted my hair done closer to when we leave for Vegas, because I was supposed to get it done today, and, but we don't leave for 2 weeks, from yesterday, something like that, I think. And we leave in 2 weeks. And so I like called and I got it moved to Monday before we leave. So there was that. And so I got up today, and what did I do? Oh, I went and I did the review of the Impossible Impossible Whopper from Burger King. It was so good. But you have to watch the whole review, because it's, I mean, if you like my vlog, it's very much like my review. I drive through and talk to the girl that was working there, and anyway, I did that. And then I talked on the phone forever. Who was I talking to on the phone? Oh, I talked to a couple different people on the phone. See, like, I turn on the heat to, it's 69 degrees outside. No jokes, please. I turn on the heat to get the defrost. Whenever somebody tells me to shoot, like, cold air on there and, like, open the windows or something, there's some trick, it never works for me, whatever that is. I always, like, see it, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do that, but, like, it never works. But anyway, what was I gonna say? So yeah, I talked on the phone for a really long time. Who was I talking to? I don't remember. I was talking on the phone for a really long time. But anyway, and then I came home, and then we got like this torrential downpour. I got the dogs outside just in time to like go outside and go potty and all that kind of stuff and bring them inside. And then it just started pouring down rain. And then I made videos. I was so tired all day today. I like really, really struggled. I'm talking about the struggle bus. I was so tired. Like, I even texted Alex and I was like, I don't know why I'm so tired today. Like, I legit was just like exhausted all day long. And so anyway, made my videos, and I was actually gonna like lay down. I was like gonna get them done, and then I was gonna like lay them down, but I had a bunch of other stuff that I wanted to do. This review channel, you guys, is like, I cannot tell you, it is crazy how I went through the emails today on there. I've been trying to like slowly go through my emails. I literally have hundreds upon hundreds of emails that like I haven't even opened yet from like, I mean, they date back all the way to like March or April. So if I never responded to your email and you sent it to me, I'm really sorry. I'm literally going through them and like reading them and like trying to respond one by one. If they're really old, I typically am not responding to them. So if you sent me an email like 3 months ago plus, or even maybe 2 months ago, and I didn't respond, you might send me another email because I'm like looking at them now and I'm seeing them. So people always comment on my videos and they're like, you don't ever read through your comments and stuff like that. And I try to do it. Like there was a period where I was trying to go in there and I was trying to like, you know, read comments for like the first half an hour or an hour or whatever. And, you know, then respond to emails. And I feel so blessed for all the comments, you know, and all the emails and the direct messages I get and stuff like that. But I literally, you guys, I can't keep up with it. I mean, I probably get every day on any social media app, I probably get 50 new direct messages on each social media app. Well, I don't get on Snapchat. If you're sending me stuff on Snapchat, I have literally not, I mean, I post my videos that I'm posting over there. I go over there, I post it, and that's it. I don't open anything on Snapchat. There was like one night, like 2 weeks ago, and it was literally like the first time in like 6 months that I opened and I responded to snaps. I don't ever go on Snapchat, period, end of story. The only reason that I even keep it is to post my videos. Like, I don't, like, that's the only reason. And if you're on TikTok, somebody like is faking this TikTok. I don't have a TikTok account. So I have Twitter, that is my name, and I have my BookTube Twitter, and then I have my Instagram, and I have my couples account, and then I have my Bookstagram account on Instagram, and then I have my Facebook page, and what else? My Snapchat, but I don't ever open it. And that's it. Like, that's it for social media. I'm not on any kind of apps or anything. So if your grandma's second cousin Judy is out there and she thinks she's talking to me on some weirdo way, it's not me. I'm just telling you, okay? I get these all these time. I feel so bad. I get these messages from people's kids and they're like, my mom thinks she's talking to you and that you're this guy that lives in Scotland. And I'm like, I'm really sorry. But they kind of get mad at me about it. Like, I'm supposed to do something. They're like, you need to do something about it. I'm like, if people had any idea how many times I report these accounts just so that other people don't, like, if it were up to me, I'd just let them go. I'd be like, let there be 5,000 fakes out there. I don't really care. The only reason I do it is so that other people don't get scammed by it. On Instagram, somebody was like trying to get people to send them money. They were like saying they were a financier and it was about Bitcoin and all this kind of stuff. I didn't even understand what people were sending me, but I reported the account. I don't know if it got taken down or not. So anyway, Instagram is pretty good about that. Twitter won't do anything. And Facebook is pretty good about it. So I don't know why Twitter won't address those issues, but I just don't even like care over there. You know, whatever. I think people know. Well, my Twitter is verified. So that's the only real Twitter I have besides my Peter Likes Books Twitter. So anyway, what was I gonna say? Oh, I was like reading these emails today and I was trying to go like, you know, into my review video because I have like an email just for that channel. And you guys, like, I have gotten so many requests to do reviews of stuff. I mean, it's crazy to me because that channel is not really that big, you know? I love that channel. I have so much fun on that channel. I love making those videos. People are always like, you seem like you're having so much genuine fun. I have so much fun on that channel. I love that channel. You know, each of my channels is kind of like for a different thing for me. I would say the review channel and the drama channel are for that, but I have honestly more fun on the review channel than I do on the drama channel. You know, my meditation channel is often like reminders for me. It's good. It's kind of like me just talking out loud to like a friend about like a meditation that I read. My BookTube channel is definitely my passion of reading, you know, and just that being like my hobby. And then this channel is so cathartic for me, and I just have so much fun driving around and telling stories of my life, and sometimes it's fun and sometimes I'm sad, and you know, I just get to get it all out. It's really therapeutic for me. It kind of reminds me of like the end of Doogie Howser back in the day. Do you remember he used to always like journal at the end of every day? Should I go or is this semi gonna go? Okay, I'll go. Do you remember that? So it's kind of like the end of my day. I kind of like get to talk about, you know, just what's going on with my mind and things like that. So, you know, I don't know. Each channel serves like a different emotional purpose for me. And But I cannot tell you. I mean, I responded to a lot of these emails. A lot of them were from like Amazon shops. It was weird. Like people that have Amazon shops. This one person wanted me to review. These were the things they wanted me to review: a cotton candy maker, but it was like like industry cotton. It wasn't like, you know, it wasn't one of those like things like it, you know, like that you would have for like a birthday party. It was like, this was like a legit cotton candy maker, like at a state fair. Okay, and then it was like a deep fryer, and then it was like this thing that you would have in a restaurant to like display like donuts. But it was like 3 tiers, and it was like in this, I mean, it was nothing that I would use. And I thought, my husband is going to get so mad because we're going to start just having all this junk around the house to review, you know? And then I thought, well, I could review it, and then I could just like give it away. Some of these people had emailed me 3 and 4 and 5 times and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, and the thing was, is that a lot of it was stuff that I would never even think about reviewing in a million years. So, I don't know. I got a lot of, I got tons of people asking me to do reviews. I thought that was kind of interesting. Yeah, so I did that, and then I finished my videos, and what did I do? I sat on the front porch and I read for a little bit, and I talked on the phone. Talked to Tanya Jean. Who else did I talk to? I talked to somebody else on the phone for a while. I don't remember. I don't know why I'm blanking out on who I talked to today. Anyway. And I was going to take a nap, but by that point, I was like wide awake. This camera. And Alex got off from work late tonight. He had a bunch of meetings and stuff to do, so he didn't get home until late. And then his mom flies in from Europe tomorrow into Chicago. She gets in at midnight. So he is driving to Chicago to go pick her up. But one of Alex's like very, very good college friends lives in Chicago. So he's driving up there tomorrow. He's getting off work early in the afternoon. And well, not early in the afternoon, like 4 or something. And he's going to drive to Chicago. And then he's going to go hang out with his friend. And I can't, this camera, come on, dude. Come on, dude. And then he's gonna hang out with his friend, and I don't know what they're gonna do. And then he's gonna go pick his mom up at midnight from the airport, and then they're gonna drive back tomorrow night. So I will probably, if you're watching this on Friday, I'm probably gonna do a live stream on Friday night. And then also, our very, very good friend that I met through Alex when we first started dating, that, like, 3 of us, like, hung out all the time together. He is in town from Dallas this weekend, and I have not seen him in a couple years, and I'm so excited. So we're gonna hang out with him. I think Saturday night, Alex said that he's gonna go out. They're gonna go out, and he was like, they're like going to clubs and stuff like that. And he was like, do you want to go? And he was like, you know, I thought I was going to ask him to see if he wanted to maybe do something first, and then we could that. But I also asked him to go to brunch on Sunday. So we're going to brunch on Sunday, I guess, with him. But then, if he can, his plans change all the time, his friend. And he has like tons of people to see while he's here. But I said, maybe I'll go out Saturday night. I said, we'll see. I don't know that I really, so when I met Alex, these were his 2 closest, like, gay guy friends, and the other one is married. We went to his wedding, outside of Milwaukee a couple years ago, and so, like, the 3 of them are going out on Saturday night. So, I don't know, we'll see. You know, sometimes I don't need to be there for all of that, too. Like, you know, like that, like, Alex has a friendship with them that was, like, I mean, I'm friends with him, too, but, like, Alex has a friendship, like, the other guy's husband is not going out. Like, Alex has a friendship with them that's, like, outside of me, you know, just, like, I have Tanya and he has Sarah and things like that, and it's, like, I don't always need to be there for that, and he doesn't always need to be there for all this kind of stuff, you know? So, I don't know. I might go on Saturday, we'll see. But Sunday, definitely for brunch. I'm gonna see him sometime this weekend. So anyway, yeah, there was that, and that was about it. It's been a good day. The rain made everything so muggy in Indianapolis. It was so hot earlier. I can't remember what else I was gonna say. I'll have some stories to tell later. I'm not crying out of joy or sadness today. I did cry during Pose, though. My God, it broke my heart. It was so good, though, tonight. It was so good. I was telling Alex, like, there was this, like, sex scene in it, and it was very romantic sex scene, too, but, like, very passionate, I guess. But I told Alex, I said, we have come so far. I said, you know, 20 years ago, this would never have been on TV, never, ever even discussed. I mean, it was unreal, but... All right, I'm at Tanya Jean, so I'm gonna get off here, and I will be back in a little while. Bye. Okay, I'm back. Got my fountain pop with Tanya Jean. She had to buy it for me because we got to the gas station and I realized I had forgotten my fanny pack. So, that has my wallet, my lippies, my chapsticks, it has everything of my life in there. It's like your purse, I'm sure, if you have a purse. So I had to call and wake up my husband because I was like, did I put it on like the hood of the car and drive away or the back of the car and drive away? And then I was like, I had to change the carriage light in the front outside right before I left because it's out. Well, both of the lights are out, so I wanted to get like one light in there. And so I called him and I was like, is there any way you can check and see? And he was so sweet. So he went downstairs and he's like, yeah, it's where he went in the bathroom. He's like, it's not in the kitchen. And I go, well, can you check in the bathroom? I like put it in the bathroom so I could change the carriage light. So I'm going home to get that because my car is almost on empty. And the light hasn't come on yet. I said that the other night and people thought that was funny. I don't know why people thought that was funny that I said that the other night, but anyway. I think one person thought it was funny. So anyway, Tanya bought me a fountain pop though. And then we drove around and we solved the world's problems. I literally just reached for my chapstick and I don't have it. It's driving me nuts. I think it's basically my stress reliever at this point. Alex's friend Sarah is nonstop texting me about this Impossible Burger because, so Sarah goes like long periods of time with being like vegan, and then she's telling me all this stuff about the Impossible Burger, all these articles that are being written about it. So she's texting me and then she's like, did you know that White Castle has an Impossible Burger? And I was like, yes. And it's a better than Burger King, not as good as Cheesecake Factory. And, here, I'll pull in here because she's like texting. She's texted me like 2 or 3 times. Don't ask her on a straight tequila night. She'll start thinking about him. Then she's ready to fight. I used to want to be a country singer back in the day. Did you know that? You didn't? Okay. Tanya and I go to this little restaurant here all the time. We love it. She always wants to sit outside, even like when it's cold outside. Okay, what's she saying? She's so funny. She said, you need to try the one at Topgolf, better than Cheesecake, I think. And then she sent me, oh, now Red Robin has it. She said, oh shit, let me know if you want to go. Red Robin's finally on the train. She's so funny. I love Red Robin. They have bottomless fries. Did you know that? That means you can order as many fries as you want. And they also have this onion ring tower. Have you ever been to Red Robin? Oh my God. Okay. And then they have this onion ring tower that like it's like a stick and they put the onion rings on it. It's so good. Oh, somebody was asking me earlier how much water I drink in a day. You guys, I drink so much water because I say a lot that I'm thirsty. I don't know if you know this, but like when you drink a lot of water or a lot of fluids, like you sometimes are thirstier. I drink so much water. You guys have no idea. Like I am constant, like around the house. I always have my coffee. Oh, I don't have it in here because I took it inside the house. But I always have my coffee that I get during the day, but then that gold Starbucks cup that I have, I fill it with water constantly. I keep like a gallon or a 2-gallon container or whatever, I don't know how many gallons, what it is, and a quart, whatever that is, I don't know. Listen, I don't know measurements, okay? But it's a big one with handle on it, and I keep it filled with water. I don't care about the purification of the water in the fridge. I don't care about all that kind of stuff. My husband, he has one of those pure filters or Britas or whatever. I just bought him a replacement one. Oh God, that was probably like 1.5 years ago now. But I think he replaced the filters in it not too long ago. But it's like one of those things that has like a tap in it. We have that in the refrigerator. He uses that because he, of course, has to have filtered water. I don't care. I'll drink tap water. I don't like well water, though. That's the one thing that I really struggle with drinking is well water. I mean, I would drink it if I had to, but I just don't like it. But anyway, it's weird kind of like not drinking. Oh, my fuel just went on. It's weird kind of not drinking bottled water as much. Because, you know, I would buy bottled water all the time. And now that I'm filling up that thing and the recyclable things, I'm not drinking it as much. So it's interesting. But I don't really notice a difference. The other night I had to buy that bottle because I didn't have that cup with me. But that's like the first one in a long time. So I drink a lot of water. I probably fill that thing up 5 or 6 times a day and drink around the house. I'm constantly having to go to the restaurant because I drink so much water. Which I'm sure you guys really want to know. But it's good for you. I think it really actually helps a lot with my complexion of my skin. I don't know. I also don't like, you know, and I don't know if this is genetics or lotion or water or what, but I also don't, I have like one stretch mark that's like that big on like my side. It's on one of my sides. I don't know where it's at. But you wouldn't even really know it's a stretch mark. It's like a little line. But as much weight as I have gained and lost and gained and lost and gained and lost through the years, I'm kind of surprised I don't have 10 times worse stretch. I mean, I don't have them in my thighs. I don't have them on my sides or my chest or anywhere. Which I feel blessed about, you know. I had a friend of mine, and when she got pregnant, she like got so big, so she was tiny anyway, and she got so big and so quick, and then she dropped really quick, and I don't know why, but she said that had something to do with it too. Do you know what I mean? If you guys know what I mean by dropping, but anyway, and she literally, like, for like 6 months, I think she ended up going and having cosmetic surgery because she was really like weird about it. And she was like, she lost all of her weight right away. And she was small. She wasn't like big. She was probably like, I don't know, like a size 6, maybe smaller than that. And she could like take like her skin in her hand and like, and she had like all this hanging skin and horrible stretch marks. And she was super embarrassed about it. Like she never wanted to wear a bathing suit again. And she was like super, you know, and I felt so bad for her. I remember she was always super apprehensive about that. Tony and I were like driving around. We were like, talking. We were talking about the Real Housewives a lot tonight. And then out of the blue, she just stopped. And we were just like in silence. She looked at the window and she goes, it's such a beautiful summer night. I go, it really is. It's 70 degrees now. It's about 90 degrees in this car. It's 74. I have the heat on. I'll turn it off now and see if it's better. But every time I turn it off, the windows start frosting up again. The nacho fries are back at Taco Bell. That's a waste of money as far as I'm concerned. Those are not worth it. I got this comment on my review channel tonight. I actually screenshot it to remind myself of this. And if you're vegetarian or you're vegan out there, I'm sure not everybody will agree with this. I want to read the comment exactly because it was said so beautifully. And like I commented back on it. It was actually the only thing I commented back on, but it was said so beautifully. What I was going to say earlier was like, I would love to like respond to all the comments and all that stuff, but it's just like, literally, like, I will post a video on my, you know, drama channel, and while I'm doing that, I'm then like, I'm filming my meditation video. And then when that's uploading, I'm filming my booktube video. And then when that's uploading, I'm filming my next one. And so it's been like an hour and a half, 2 hours by the time I get them done. And so by the time that I actually have some time to sit there, which is typically when Alex is on his way home, and go through and comment on it, well, you know, it'll have like 500 comments or 200 comments or 1,000 comments on, you know, certain videos. And like the booktube channel never really, that and the meditation channel never really get that many comments on it. But it's, you know, like after a while, it's like there's so many comments on it. It's like, and then I feel bad. It's like I don't want to go in and just answer some and not all. And so I try to do it for a long time, and like I try to go in there and keep up with it and stuff. There was like 2 weeks where I did it, and it was just hard. So I need to get back to doing that. I need to take like an hour out every day and just respond to comments on all of my channels. I know it, I know people get frustrated with it, and I feel bad about it. I feel blessed that I get like all the comments that I do. I think it's really, really nice. I read every comment that I get. But I just, like, to keep up with it is a lot, you know? And then I'm like, well, you know, and I try to respond to social media on there, you know, when I get it. But I'm like, is it better for me to, like, I was, like, looking through comments at Tanya's house before I left. I was, like, looking through messages and stuff. And I was like, I get so many, since I started doing birthday requests or birthday shout-outs, I get literally every day, I can't even tell you how many requests I get for birthday shout-outs. And I'm like, I need to start keeping a list of it is what I need to do. Because people will say, can you shout me out on, like, my birthday is the 11th? And I'm like, okay, it is the 8th going to the 9th. I will not remember that by the 11th. Okay, I want to read this comment to you that I got about the veggie. See right here, I just screenshotted somebody's birthday. Somebody commented and said, I'm sorry, as a vegan, I don't get why some vegans purposely make ordering food harder than it needs to be. The only way to guarantee that your food never ever comes into contact with any animal byproduct would be to grow it yourself. It's like the saying, we don't need thousands of people doing something perfectly. We need billions of people making an effort. And I really, really liked that. I thought, you know what, as a vegetarian that beats myself up often about not being perfect, I like really, really needed to hear that. Like, I thought that was such a great comment. I was so impressed with that. Actually, well, no, I'm moving. I'm not gonna, I don't know who it is. But anyway, I really needed to hear that because, you know, it's like hardcore vegetarians and vegans that will, like, you know, beat you up for being like, well, you did this or you did that. Like, well, even on that video, somebody was like, well, if you're eating fries from there, then, you know, forget it. There's no point for you to eat vegetarian anyway because of this. And it's like, well, okay, but isn't it better that if I'm making an effort, if I'm going, because I had onion rings there, they're like, well, it was, you know, trans fat and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, isn't it better that I'm eating an Impossible Burger, which now apparently is like, you shouldn't eat, I guess. I don't know. I can't keep up with all this stuff. But anyway, isn't it better to eat like a veggie burger and fries that could possibly be grilled or than to eat a steak? I mean, I'm just saying, right? Like, or is it not? And I'm sure there's some people out there that's like, no, if you're not going to do that, then you shouldn't do it at all. I don't know. It's like, it's hard in the world that we live in, you know? Our society is accustomed to use animal products and to get away from that, you know, and to be, like, literally, I am not that educated about it. I try to educate myself. I try to read articles about it, you know, and stuff, but it's hard, you know. It's like, I never even thought about, like, until we went to the Benihana that one night about, like, cross-contamination. I never had thought about it. I mean, I know, how stupid is that I had never thought of it, right? But, like, I literally had never thought of it. I never thought, oh, they probably cook this stuff on the same grill. What a simple concept. But yet I had never thought of it, you know? So I don't know, you know, it's like, I like that idea though, you know, it's a billion people trying or a few getting it perfect. And I'm not gonna be perfect at anything that I do, ever. Oh well. But it was fun doing that review. People seem to like it. I love that channel. It's so much fun. I love coming up with ideas of what I'm going to do next. I have a fun video. I have a couple fun videos for this week. I have one that's a game, and I was going to do it by myself, but then I was like, I need to do it with Alex or Tanya, so maybe this weekend. But We'll see. All right, I'm gonna run home real quick and get my fanny pack, and then I will be back here after that. Okay? Bye. All right, I'm back. Got my fanny pack, and he's back with his fanny pack, and he gotta go get gas now. My brother-in-law, Fufu, and his girlfriend, they are at the Indiana Dunes. Well, they're staying by the Indiana Dunes. It's like where her family rented his house, I guess. And they were, today I saw that they were like running up and down. They like posted pictures, I think, on Instagram. They were running up and down the Indiana Dunes. I did that when I was a kid with my mom. Like my mom and dad and I, so it would have been before I was 5 or 6, we went there. And there's some picture I have where I'm like running down the dunes, and I have this like windbreaker on. Sleepy Bear Dunes, that's what it's called. And I have this windbreaker on, and my hair's like blowing in the wind. I'm like, and you know, I have wanted to go back up there ever since I was like in junior high, and I've never done it. And it's like a 3-hour drive from here, and I thought, Alex and I should go do that some weekend. We should just rent a little house up there, take the dogs, and, you know, go to the Smoky Bear Dunes for a day. And this, where they're staying, I looked at Airbnbs up there. You can get, like, we could get, like, okay, we could take our whole family up there. We could do, like, Alex and I, Mom and Grandma, and then, like, Carlos and Liliana. It's like, okay, so, why is my iPod on? I found a house that was, like, 5 bedrooms with an in-ground pool. On, like, across the street is where the beach access is. So you, like, literally, it's in, like, a neighborhood. You literally walk across the street right into the beach, right, onto Lake Michigan. It was, I looked at, like, the last week of August, which, I mean, I just wanted to see how much the rate was. We can't go that week anyway. $400 a night. I was like, that was the most expensive one I found. I was like, are you kidding me? I mean, that is cheap. We could split that as a family, you know, and that would be, like, a really inexpensive trip. 5 nights would be $500 a little, you know, coupling group. That would be so much fun, wouldn't it? So I'm kind of jealous, but I'd love to stay in like a little lake house or something like that, you know? All right, I'm gonna get gas and I will be back in 2 and 2. Okay, I'm back. My gas. Yes. It, where's my pen? It didn't print me a receipt out, so I have to write it on my receipt right here. I have to write it on here. Because I keep all my when I was growing up, a lot of my friends had lake houses that they went to, like their families had had for years and years and years. Well, not a lot of my close friends, but like family friends of ours. They had like lake houses. If you live in Indiana, like at Culver, which is where the military camp is and stuff, and like Max and Cucky. And these beautiful homes that have been in these people's families for years and years and years, right? And so I used to say to my dad, I'd be like, I wish we had a lake house. Okay, so my dad lives on a lake and he has a pool, right? And my dad would be like, I don't know what you're complaining about. You have a lake house 365 days a year. I'm like, it's not the same, Dad. Now that I'm older, I would so love if my parents had a lake house. My mom used to say it too. She was like, I wish we had a lake house too, because then I would have got to use it 50% of the time in the divorce. She goes, now I'm divorced and I don't have a lake house. But friends of mine that have lake houses that like literally now that they're my age, you know, that they've like their grandparents had, their great grandparents had, and they still have in the family and stuff. You know, it's like from like April all the way through like October, they'll like go up on weekends and stuff like that. I don't know, I need to get better friends. None of my friends ever invite me to their lake houses. Not many of my friends today. I mean, like family friends, the people that I know. It seems like my cousin Caroline gets invited to lake houses all the time. But she's kind of stayed more in contact with a lot of these family friends than I have, because my aunt was really, really good friends with like their mothers. even though my mom and my aunt were like sisters and they were close, like they had, it's so hot in this car. They had, I want to go the other way and I can't go this way. They had different friend groups. I mean, they had some friends that like were in common, like they had had for a long time, but most of their friend groups were separate. Bye, Danny. Yeah. And now it's weird, like, a lot of my, you know, like, a lot of our family friends, they're, like, passing away. They're older, you know? It's like, there's only a couple of them that are still alive. I need to call my mom's friend Susie. I've been meaning to do that for, like, a week. I think she's coming to Indiana. I need to find out when she's coming. Every time she comes, it's always when we're out of town, and so I'm sure she's either coming the week that we're going to be in Las Vegas, or she's coming the week that we go to San Diego. And I was saying that I was going to go out to Colorado, and that never happened. Add It Up by the Violent Femmes just came on my iPod. I love that song. Add it up, you better add it up. Did you guys like the Violent Femmes in high school? I love the Violent Femmes. I knew every word to every song in that entire album. The deluxe edition, Violent Femmes, Violent Femmes. I knew every word to every song on that album. Anyway, but then, like, when I talked to Susie the last time, like, Alex and I talked about going out there and visiting her. He loves Susie, and she loves him. And I was like, well, maybe we should go out there in the fall and winter. Like, the fall is beautiful in Denver, you know? And she has a place on the mountain, and she's always like, come out here, and you guys can go ski. And, I really want to meet up with Elle Leary. She lives out there now too. And and I have a good friend of mine that lives in downtown Denver. Well, not downtown, but he lives in Cherry Creek. And it's just kind of like, it's a suburb, but not really a suburb. It's like an area of Denver, if you know Denver at all. When I was going to move to Denver, there was an area called Lodo. I don't know if it's still there, but that's where I was going to look. That's where I was looking at, and it had like warehouse condos and apartments. I don't know if I've talked about this on here for a long time. So the summer after my mother passed away, when I was completely numb to the world and I just didn't really know what I was doing with my life, I was like, this guy is totally jamming out. What's he listening to? Should we hear? Some kind of rap music. I don't know it. But okay, he has this, do you guys know when like people have like dark hair, like brown hair, and then they have like a birthmark in their hair where it's like white? I used to want that so bad. I don't know why. Why do I look like I'm like sinking down in this chair? But and I'm not vlogging for a really long time tonight because I need to listen to my audiobooks, so I want to kind of, because I haven't been listening to them as much as I need to. I still haven't finished Little Monsters yet, which somebody else said that they're reading and they really, really liked. So anyway, what was I saying? Oh, so that summer, I was going out there to visit my friend a lot, who lives out there with his husband, and I was like, I'm moving. Like, there's nothing for me in Indianapolis besides my dad and my stepmom, but I can see them whenever, and, you know, there's no reason for me to be here anymore, so I'm moving to Denver. I mean, I was set to do it, and I had gone to Denver, like, I was literally going out there every 2 to 3 weeks. It's so hot in here. It kind of started with Pride Day. Like, I went out for Pride weekend. It was like the first time that I went. It was like the second week of June that year, I think, or something. I don't know, it was early. And like, I went out there and hung out with him and another friend of ours that was like, there was like 4 of us that used to hang out back in the day. The other guy is the guy that I've been friends with, that we went on a date, and it was like, you know, we've been friends with ever since. So we've been friends for like 20 plus years, and all of us. And so the 3 of us were hanging out because the other one couldn't come. We were hanging out for Pride weekend. Oh my God, we had so much fun. So anyway, that was like the first time I went out there to visit him, because he was like, just come, just come, just come. I was like, no. And then finally I was like, screw it. And I literally booked it at the last minute, and I was like, I think I did. And I was like, okay, I'm coming. And it was real weird because I hadn't flown anywhere. without my ex, by myself. And I just remember being kind of like, I don't know, that I just was weird about it. And so, well, I had gone to Vegas early, like in April, with another friend, but I had not flown alone, you know, and I was kind of weirded out by that. And so anyway, I went and I just had the greatest time of my life. And then I went out to Denver literally like every other weekend that summer. I would like call him and I'd be like, can I come back out? Like, I just didn't want to be here. I just didn't. There was like, I was lonely. There just really wasn't a lot for me here right then. I was just really, really lonely. And I'm not somebody that's like good at dating. Like, so I was like, you know, I was single, but like I wasn't really wanting to date either, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just not, like, I don't enjoy that. And so I was like, I don't know, and it was, like, I was meeting, like, guys in Denver, but, like, I was meeting kind of, like, different guys in Denver, if that makes sense. Like, because, like, you know, Indianapolis is still small, so when you see people that you know, right? And, like, Denver was different. It was, like, I didn't know anybody out there, you know? And, so when we would go out and I would meet guys and stuff like that, we had just so much fun. Like, every time we would go out, and then afterwards we would get these, because he's a vegetarian too, we would work out. I was working out every day. I was in the best shape of my entire life. And then we would get these, like, they had these women that were selling like burritos outside of the clubs in Denver. I don't know if they still do that, but they sold them in these big coolers, and we would like get like 2 for $5 each, and they were these huge burritos, and we would take them back to his house, and we would sit there and we would watch scary movies. And he's the one that I did the crossword with on the phone. And every Tuesday On Demand would come out with like all of the free scary movies. And so we were constantly watching scary movies, like on the phone together, or like we would talk about which one we were going to watch that day. Or when I was there, we would watch like 3 or 4 scary movies back to back, because we love scary movies, especially stupid ones. And I don't know, he made me feel alive again, you know? He made me feel like he didn't want to talk about deep stuff. He didn't want to talk about my mom and my past relationship and me being sad and stuck in life. Like, he wanted to show me how to live, and to, like, you got to move on. You got to, you know, and he was somebody that said to me, move on, not move through. And, you know, I think maybe at that time that's what I needed. I don't regret it. You know, I had a lot of fun out there, and it was really good times. And I remember he made up his guest bedroom for me, and it was like, so my friend's an artist, and he was real artsy, and it was like, I remember he had these like IKEA metal like bunk beds that he had in this guest bedroom, and he had this fan, because I always sleep with a fan, and he had this fan, and it was called this Aloha fan, and it had like, in the back of it, I remember it had like, this like woman dressed up like in a hula outfit, and he just made his like guest bedroom so nice for me. And he and his husband both drove Jeep Rubicons, and I would like take car service to his house. I'd be like, come and pick me up from the airport. He'd be like, no, you can do car service. It's too far for me to drive. So I would like show up at his house, and he would have made like all these CDs for like the weekend, you know, like that we were going to listen to. And then like, he didn't love to drive, and so I just drove everywhere. Like, he'd be like, you can drive. And I just got to drive, because it was like, he didn't know how to drive stick. So it was like it was a automatic Jeep Rubicon, and it was black, and his husband's was orange. And I just saw the other day that he got a new car, and it was like something very serious. Like, I don't know, it was like a Buick or something. I was like, we are getting older. But he's still real artsy and different. He's a fantastic artist. And, you know, I don't know, like, you know, when I talk about the difference between being, like, moving on and moving through, like, I don't remember him ever telling me that you need to move on. Like, I don't remember him saying that to me. But I remember him never wanting to really have some deep, serious conversation. He'd be like, no, we don't need to do that. We don't need to go there. Like, I remember talking to him one time, and I said I wanted to talk about my ex. And he was like, no, we don't need to talk about him. And I was like, no, I feel like I need to talk about him. We were sitting on his patio. And he goes, okay, what do you want to talk about? And I kind of started getting into some stuff, and, you know, like, felt like I missed him, and I didn't know, you know, like, I don't know, there was a long period where, I didn't know, like, what to do with that, you know, that situation. And he was like, he just looked at me, and I remember, like, I got done talking, and he was like, you're remembering all the good things. And I said, yeah. And he goes, okay, is that what you want to do? And I said, well, there were, you know, like, I said something like, there were a lot of good things. And he looked at me and he goes, he's your ex for a reason. And I go, what? He goes, he's your ex for a reason. And I said, yep. And he goes, okay, anything else we need to talk about? And that was kind of his attitude about a lot of things. You know, and I have to say, like, he isn't my moral compass, and he's not the person in my life that I look to for the greatest advice in the world, and he's helped me through a lot of things. But, you know, at that time in my life, I wasn't in a position where I needed to, I just don't think that I was capable of having real deep conversations like I wanted to. I felt like I needed to process, but I just was spinning in my head, and I really just needed to live. I had so many ends that year of eras that I felt like, you know, it was the year that I left my career. It was the year that you know, I had worked in a treatment facility for 13 years. It was like the year that I gotten out of a relationship that I had been in forever. You know, it was like I had all of these endings, and it was like he gave me like a beginning, you know, of living again. And then what happened was when I came, you know, back into recovery, and I was still going to meetings then, but like I wasn't super active. When I came back in, that was my time to deal with the deeper stuff, you know? But I think that he really gave me that ability to like live at that time. And we all need friends like that, you know? Excuse me, we all need friends that we can have fun with and experience life and see that there are other opportunities out there for me, you know, that there are other things out there. It's not just this, you know, like he made this idea of you could move to another city and be just as happy or happier or do something completely different. Because I was like, I'm moving out there and I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to work in a bookstore or whatever, you know, and he was like, you should, like, you could do it. You can do anything. He would always say that. He was like, you can do anything that you put your mind to it, you know, and I'm so thankful for that today, you know, that I don't think that Alex and I would even be together if I had never gone out there. I think I had to do that, you know? And so then I came back, and I had asked Alex actually out on a date, like in April, before my mom had passed away, and he had said no, because Alex was still into his ex. And then I got back from Denver, and he had messaged me, and was like, are you still going to take me on that date? And I messaged him back and said, I guess you're over your ex. And I actually canceled our date twice. And then the third time we went on it, I think I canceled it twice. And that day of that date, I called my friend and I said, I'm going to move. Like, I hadn't started doing anything yet to prepare it, but I knew that was like, I was going to move. And I said, there's no point for me to go on this date. Like, I don't even want to go. And he was like, just go. He was like, either you go and you have the worst time of your entire life, or a good time and you know, whatever, and you get it over with. And he's like, or you go and you make a new friend. Like, what's the big deal? Okay, so you're not going to stay there, but you go and you make a new friend. And little did I know that 11 years later, I would still be with him, you know? It's crazy. I tear up because it's so weird to me, like, neither one of us wanted to be in a relationship when we got together. We were not supposed to be the couple that lasted. We just weren't. You know, like, people would say things like, oh my God, they fight constantly, and, you know, or like, you know, like, people would say they're either fighting really hard, like, or they're loving really hard, you know? Like, our friend that's in town this weekend, like, Alex and I on the way home from going out and stuff like that, I mean, we wouldn't get in, like, vicious fights, but we would be, like, arguing with each other, and he'd be like, you guys, I feel like I'm in the middle of it, and we've come so far. God, we haven't had an argument like that, and I bet, well, 8 years or something. I mean, since we've been married. I mean, we've had some arguments, but nothing like it used to be back in the day. But they'd be like, people would say, like, our friends would be like, you guys are literally like arguing, or you are like all over each other, you know? And that was how we were. Like, we were either like all over each other, full throttle, super passionate, or it was like fire and ice, you know? And I mean, if you had asked me 11 years ago this month, you know, so this guy that you reached out to on MySpace and sent him a message, where do you think he'll be 11 years from now? You think you guys will still know each other? I would say, I don't even think I'll know where he is. I don't even know him that well. I don't think we'll be talking. I don't think I'll have any clue what is going on with that person in their life whatsoever. I wouldn't have believed it. I would have been like, no, I won't know anything about that person and don't care. I think that's what I would have said. Do you know what I mean? And, I remember Alex and I finally, you know, having this conversation at one point, and we kind of had this, like, if you've heard the phrase "come to Jesus," we kind of had this come to Jesus meeting between the two of us, and we're like, look, like, this was back in the day, but there was a lot of threatening of breaking up and packing bags and all this kind of stuff, you know, and we were like, look, we're either gonna make this work and be together and figure it out no matter what. And I'm not saying that that's the case. I mean, we could divorce 2 years or 5 years down the road, you know? I would feel like we have put a lot of effort into our relationship if that happened. More so than I did then. I would have felt like we had given up back then. And we don't, like, have the issues that we had back then today. So, I mean, and the issue, and then I look back and I think the issues that we had, I don't know, if you're in a marriage and you've been together for a long time, you'll know what I'm talking about. And then the issues that you look back on and you think were such big issues at the time were such stupid issues. They were just small. They weren't anything but, you know, fighting over stupid stuff, you know? And, stuff that today wouldn't even cause a disagreement, you know? Like, I look back on that and I think, God, we get so upset about those things. I don't know, maybe that's part of getting to know each other, you know? And I think it's very push-pull, 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 but, you know, we had this conversation and it was like, we're gonna, and this was long before we ever started counseling. This was years before we ever started counseling, and we were like, whatever happens, we're gonna make this work, you know? And, but neither one of us wanted that when we got together. Neither one of us thought that we would be in this relationship for this long. I mean, I can tell you, Alex didn't think he'd be in any relationship for any period of time. And I don't know what I thought. I didn't think it, you know, I just definitely didn't think that it would be, you know, with him. It's crazy, you know, when I look back. We were the couple that was not supposed to make it. And now I look, you know, and it's sad, you know, I look at so many couples that we've been friends with through the years that are divorced and single and divorced and remarried, or never were married and broke up. And, you know, like, I mean, so many friends of ours that got together and broke up, like, in the time period that we were together. And I think about that, you know, I think, oh no, it just makes me sad, you know? Straight and gay couples. And so many. We do have a lot of couples that we're friends with that have been together too. I mean, I think one of the things that is really helpful to us as a couple, I think if you're a couple, I think you should definitely have friends that are couples. I think it really, really helps the relationship. You know, it's why it's important for Alex and I today to travel with other couples sometimes, and to go out to eat with couples. And, you know, Melissa and Jason are so great for us, as a, you know, and I just think it's healthy for couples to have friends that are couples, and especially couples whose marriage or relationship you respect. It's kind of like, typically, like, when you hang out with people that are successful in life, like, the chances are you're going to be more successful too, because they raise the bar, or you raise the bar for them, or you can kind of see their life in you and what you want or what you don't want. And I think it's the same with marriage too. You know, it's like there's kind of like that hidden accountability, so to speak, of, you know, like, oh, well, we see what their marriage is like. And that doesn't mean that your marriage has to be like it. It doesn't have to be like it at all. It can just, I mean, like I can tell you that Melissa and Jason's marriage is completely different than ours. But on some levels it's not, you know, but I think it's really healthy to have, you know, other friends that are married or in committed relationships. And I think we have, so them, and then our friends that we've been friends with for a long time, and they've been married since they were 21, and they're like 2 years older than me, so they've been married for 25 plus years, something like that. And then our other friends that Alex hung out with in Chicago, they've been together about, I think they started dating the same year that we did. And then our friends that are married, that we were supposed to have brunch with, they started dating the same year that we did. And they got engaged the day after our wedding in Las Vegas in front of the fountains of the Bellagio. And then they got married the year after we did. They were in our wedding and we were in their wedding. And so those are like 4 couples that we're still really good friends with. And there are other couples that we see, you know, but it's just like there's so many that haven't made it. And it's like, it just, I don't know. It was at the end and I didn't even know it. Here I said I wasn't going to talk that long tonight. And what is that? I don't even know. I think it's probably over 45 minutes, maybe. Something like that. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. I think that one of the things that has like saved our marriage is, you know, I remember my mom saying, like, things you've learned in past relationships, it's important to bring that lesson into the next relationship, you know, and Alex and I have been stubborn about learning things, you know, and like I said, we have not had an easy marriage, not one bit. The bad times have been real bad, but the great times have been amazing, you know. And marriage isn't easy, and anybody that is in a, you know, relationship and they've been together for a long time, they know that, you know, it's not easy. It's like I was saying last night, you know, a lot of people commented on it and was like, they really liked what I had to say about it, but it's like 11 years is no joke. Like 11 years with being somebody every day and every night is like, that's a long time to be with somebody, you know what I mean? I mean, if you think about it, that's almost like going into first grade and then graduating from high school. That's like how long it's been that I've been with him. Like, that's crazy when you think about it that way, you know? And, I don't know, it's just, I think, you know, my mom said with my ex that we had like gotten into this argument. I think it was on her birthday. And he was supposed to come too, and we were going to go to like a casino or something. I can't remember, Edinburgh Outlet Mall or somewhere, but I think it was a casino. And I said something about us getting into a fight. We had gotten in an argument. And she said, weeds grow fast in a garden, and before you know it, the weeds have overtaken the garden. And we talked about it. I was like, well, what do you mean? She was like, when you have like these, like, you know, thoughts that are not helpful to the garden, they start taking over sooner or later. So, you know, when you're sitting there in a marriage and you're unhappy and you're like, or a relationship and you're like, I'm not happy. Now, there are some marriages and some relationships that maybe you shouldn't be in, and definitely ones that are, you know, of abusive natures. I'm not going to recommend that you just go leave that relationship. That's not necessarily the healthiest thing to do, but please seek professional help if you're listening to that and you're in that situation. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about being in a relationship that you're not necessarily happy in, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a romantic relationship, whatever it is, right? I think that many times what happens is, this guy just literally ran a red light, flashing red light, but still. I think that often, you know, you start thinking to yourself, well this, or well that, or well this, and then you start looking at your friends who are single, and you think they have it better, and whatever, you know, it's like, I don't know, and then, you know, like, then all of a sudden that looks alluring, that looks good, and it's like, well, that's when you have to stop that, you know, and you have to share with your partner what's going on, and you have to say, like, hey, listen, like, some stuff's going on with me in my head, like, can we work through this? Like, what's going on, you know? And thank God, you know, Alex and I have some of those tools today in a way that we didn't have those tools a couple years ago, you know? And counseling has really given us that. We are having such a hard time finding a new counselor, you guys. It's like literally every person that we find, we were like recommended somebody, and then we were supposed to start with them, and then they couldn't start appointments till like the end of September, and then we were trying to start with somebody else, and then they're not taking new clients, and it's like, we've gone a long time now without having a counselor, and we're doing great, you know, but like, Alex and I were talking about wanting to go back and maybe go back every 2 to 3 weeks or something like that, and just have like a sounding board, because it is really helpful to us. I mean, you know, the counseling, the things that we got from it, like the 12 forms of intimacy, and, you know, what was the other book that we read? I can't remember that book. But just, you know, different forms of communication and how to respect your other person. I mean, respect is such an interesting word when it comes to, you know, being in a romantic married relationship, you know, or, you know, committed relationship or whatever. Like, respect is an interesting word. You know, we just broke down and redefined what respect was in our relationship and what that meant to either one of us and what our expectations were and things like that, you know, in a way that I think those were things that I didn't even know to do in the relationship, you know? And I think that it would be great for us to have somebody, you know, together and individually. I haven't been going individually because I was going to the guy that closed down his practice, so, and neither has Alex. I'm probably somebody that could go for the rest of my life. I feel like it's just constant growth and learning about yourself, you know, especially, and I think maybe it's the recovery thing too. Like, I think like a lot of people in recovery go to counseling forever. We've had a friend, there's another married couple that we're friends with, and they got together the year before we did, because Alex used to work with her, and we used to all hang out. They've literally been going to a marriage counselor for like 6 years, and they swear by their marriage counseling. They love it. And, so yeah, we need to, like, we've been trying to find somebody, but then it's like, you want it to be like a specific fit, and you want it, you know, like for me, it's really, really important that whoever we see and thankfully some of these people that we've talked to are like, no, I just don't get it on that level. Like, I get recovery and addiction, but not on that level. I'm like, I speak the language of recovery. So like, if I'm gonna sit in a room and be like, hey, I'm really resentful about A, B, and C, and it's affecting us, and I need to work through this, like, I need somebody to understand, like, how resentments are the #1 offender in recovery, and how, like, I need them to understand it's, you know, a 12-step process, because that's what I work with. Not that they have to agree with it, but that they understand it, or that they've, you know, been educated in that language. And a lot of people just aren't, surprisingly, you know? And that's, like, important to me. I don't care that, it's not about somebody agreeing with me or whatever, it's about somebody understanding where I'm coming from, that I don't have to look at them and say, well, when I do inventory on a 4-step or a 10-step, and then they look at me like, what's a 10-step? Like, I don't want to have to sit in a room and educate somebody else while I'm there for me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want them to understand that. And that's why our counselor was so fantastic before. He wasn't in recovery, but he had, like, worked with addiction for a long time, and he got it, you know? You know, and he would say things to me like, I think this is maybe not such a counseling issue as it is, maybe you need to talk to your sponsor and see what she has to say about it, you know? And, you know, he would say things like to Alex about, like, you know, like, Alex would say some things sometimes, and our counselor would say, well, Alex, it's not really, like, your place to say that to a person in recovery, and, like, you know, these are the boundaries that we can set with that, and, you know, and Alex would hear it from him, and, you know, and it educated him a lot on being with somebody that was in recovery, and, you know, so anyway, I miss that. I miss having a counselor. But I think it's also been good for us not to have one for a while, because I think it's made us realize we're not dependent upon one. And so that we don't need it, like, because we're doing great. But at the same time, we realized that it was so beneficial to us and how much we love it, you know? It's kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like, you know, if you went and you took, like, you know, at the local community center, it's like you went and you took like, you started going, like, let's say to, shoot, I don't know. I don't know, maybe it's like if you started going to the gym because like you were like out of shape, you know what I mean? And like you went there to like build your body back up and get into shape. Well, as soon as it got back into shape, you wouldn't stop going to the gym. You'd keep on going, right? Because you'd want to continue to grow your body. You'd want to continue to develop your body and make it as good as it possibly can be. And I feel like that's the same as with like marriage counseling for us, or counseling in general. It was like, okay, why would you stop it? Just like because it was working so well, you know? It's like, okay, why would I stop it then, you know? Like maybe not go the consistency that we were going forever, but why stop it? You know, and that's what I would suggest to anybody out there. I have to tell you, like, of all of the emails and the direct messages I get, whether it's, unless it's somebody sending me drama or tea, which I get a lot of, but the two questions I get the most about are recovery and, I get a lot of questions about recovery, and I get a lot of questions about marriage counseling, because I talk about those two things a lot and people ask a lot. And today, on the heels, I think it was yesterday or the day before, I think it was yesterday that I was talking about the leads on YouTube. I got so many emails about that, people asking me what they were, and I tried to respond to all of them that I got today. And I just try to be, you know, honest and share my experience with people, like, of what I've gone through or what helps me or what doesn't help me and things like that, you know, and what I would recommend from my experience. Not, that's all it is. It's just my experience of having gone through the same thing, you know, and, so if you're out there and you're watching this and you're thinking, I think marriage counseling might help our relationship a little bit, I think, like, if you're at a point where you're like, I'm ready to go if we don't go to marriage counseling, you should have gone a month ago and you need to go now. If you're sitting there watching this and you're like, I'm absolutely miserable in my relationship, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore, I need to get out, you need to go to counseling now. The battery died on me. I didn't even realize it was low. But let me just tell you, this battery is so hot. The camera is so hot right now. Contact case, I don't even know why I have that in here. I was talking about marriage counseling, but like, listen, if you're somebody that's sitting there and you're like, well, they're building apartments right there, I didn't even know that. If you're like, that's kind of a weird place for apartments. If you're like one of these people that is sitting out there and thinking to yourself, we needed to be in counseling 3 months ago or a year ago, you need to go now. And if your partner won't go with you, go by yourself. If you can't afford it, see if you can find like somebody that will take a sliding fee scale or whatever, you know, or low cost or whatever. But go. And if you're sitting there and you're thinking, like, I feel like, you know, maybe there's some things that we can't discuss, and I feel like it would be good for us to go and maybe get some things out, go. That doesn't mean that you have to go forever. You know, it doesn't mean you have to go for 2 years like we do or continue to go. It means that you could go for, I don't know, a couple sessions and see if you guys can work those things out. Now it's freezing in here. But if you go and you decide that it's helpful, then you can stay and continue to go. And if you're sitting there and you're like, we're in the most blessed relationship of our entire lives and we're so happy and whatever, then don't go. You know what I mean? But remember, like, the seed is planted. And then if down the road you ever feel like, hey, we need to go in and talk to somebody, you know, for a couple sessions or times or whatever, you can do that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Alex today is like such a proponent of counseling before marriage. Like, whenever friends of ours are always like, you guys went to counseling, you swear by counseling, you thought it was priceless, you love it. Like, what would be the #1 piece of advice you give to people? Alex is always like, go to counseling before you get married. He was like, so that you can, you know, learn about the forms of intimacy, and you can learn about, you know, setting boundaries and limits with each other, and, you know, things like that. It's important. You know, we take care of our cars, and, you know, we go get the oil change. Well, I need to get my oil change. I've been meaning to do that all week. But, you know, we take care of our cars, and we, you know, put gas in it, and we, you know, get it washed and whatever. But do we take care of our marriages the same way? Like, really? You know, and then people, I think that, you know, it's funny, like, you know, I've gotten a lot of criticism, you know, on my vlog with my husband, and they'll be like, oh, Peter side-eye, or Alex side-eyes Peter, or Alex this, or Alex that, and whatever. And I'm like, I think that those comments, you know, like 5 or 8 years ago or something like that would have probably bothered me. They don't really bother me today. I'm just kind of like, anybody that's in a relationship realizes that, well, first of all, you're going to side-eye the hell out of each other, okay? You're going to look annoyed with the other person from time to time. I'm sure there are the times that my husband is completely annoyed with me, and quite frankly, there's times that I'm very annoyed with him as well, you know? But that doesn't mean that we love each other any less or that we're going anywhere, you know what I mean? And I've never really understood why you would wish that on somebody anyway. I think that really says more about that person, but, you know, any person that's in a marriage that's been together for a long time, there's no marriage. And like, I mean, I've talked to friends of mine that have amazing marriages. No marriage is easy. Like, no marriage, no relationship is easy. You're gonna have, whether it's about financial issues, which a lot of couples fight about. That's the one thing that Alex and I really haven't had a lot of struggles with, you know, but whether it's financial issues or whether it is, you know, I'm trying to think of what other big issues that couples fight about, you know, like religion or kids or moving or whatever, you know, like there's always going to be something there that people are going to struggle with in a marriage often. It doesn't, we watch these TV shows and we think that that's the way that marriage works and it's so easy, you know, that's just BS. It's just not. But I do believe that the quantity of work that you put into your marriage dictates the quality of the marriage that you have. And people that think that you just show up to the altar and get married and all the rest of it is bliss, it's a joke. That's just not true. It just really isn't. Just like no friendship is like that. You know, Tanya and I were talking about that tonight, and we were talking about how it's taken 22 years for Tanya and I to get to the point where we can say things to each other in a certain way that the other person will hear it, you know? I say things to her now, and she gives me suggestions, and I give her suggestions that I don't think that we would have said to each other 10 years ago. I don't think neither one of us would. I think I would have been defensive about it, and I think she would have too, you know? And I think that that's like, you work on a friendship, you become comfortable with it over time, you learn new things about that person, you know? So, if you're watching this and you're in your head about your marriage and you think, oh, well, everybody else has this great marriage except for me, do not think that. That's just not the case. It's total BS. And don't compare yourself to anybody else's marriage. Your marriage is a separate entity. And, you know, I used to do that a lot. I'd be like, oh, well, Judy and Joe Smith, Alex. And he'd be like, we're not Judy and Joe Smith. And what happens in their marriage is what happens in their marriage. What happens in ours is something completely different. And when we were in counseling, like, that was something that came up. You know, Alex would be like, Peter's always comparing us to other couples, because I used to do that back in the day. And he was right. Like, the circumstances that got us together, the circumstances that got us in our marriage, you know, all of that kind of stuff is like completely different than our friends, you know? And so it's like, you can't compare relationships. And what's so weird is that, like, out of all of our friends that we're friends with, like Tanya and Eric, which of course there's a couple that we're friends with that I don't even think about because they're like mom and pop, you know? But like our relationship is probably the most similar to theirs, you know? And probably because they're somebody that like has been around from the beginning of Alex and I together. And I don't know, maybe that's because we've role modeled that relationship and stuff, you know? The way that we handle our finances is completely similar to them, you know? And that was because I asked Tanya how to handle the situation with finances, because then, you know, the previous relationships, it was not a great thing, you know? And she gave me a lot of suggestions and we took it, you know? And it has worked for us. And it's helped build trust, and it's helped build, I don't know, it's helped a lot, you know? And I think that's the other thing, asking other couples, you know, advice. And so, but the thing is, the work that you have to put in to have, you know, a good marriage is a lot. It really is. Some days it's not. You know, some days it's just easy peasy. Some days it's just not hard at all. But other days it feels like a lot of work. You know, it really does. But then the payoff is fantastic. It just is absolutely, the payoff is incredible, you know? To look at that person and know that, you know, they're your partner, they're your teammate, you know, they're your lover, they're your husband or wife or best friend, you know, they're your person. They're your person, you know, like, I mean, I remember that scene in The Way We Were when Barbra Streisand and Robert Redford break up at the beginning, the first time. And she said, she's crying on the phone, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and she said, I don't know what to do. Like, I wanted to call my best friend, but then I realized you're my best friend. Like, I don't know who to talk to, you know? And, you know, Alex and I have best friends, but like our romantic best friend is each other. Like, we're the one that is like ride or die for each other through it all, you know? And that's because of what we put in to this marriage, you know? I think the fact that we worked so hard on it through the years is really why we're so protective of it now. If you want a good starting point, if you're in a good relationship, if you're in a good marriage and you just want a starting point, this is something Alex and I did years ago. We got the book, The 5 Languages of Love. I know everybody's heard of it and it's kind of corny, but anyway, I think it's a great book. We got the 5 Languages of Love, and then we would sit there and we would read it at night to each other. And we got like halfway through reading it to each other at night. This friend of mine, well, they were the one that, did we read it to each other at night, or did... God, it's been like 10 years since we read that book. No. I saw this friend of mine at the gym, and he said he and his wife read it together at night. So I bought us each a copy of it. We started it, like I can see us sitting there in bed. There were 2 things that we did, actually. One of them we did right before we got married. I'll tell you that in a second. But we started reading The 5 Languages of Love. Is that what it's called? Yeah. And I don't even know what mine is anymore. Mine's Quality Time and Words of Appreciation, I think, are my 2. But we started reading it and whatever. Alex jokes, like he finished the whole thing in like 2 days or 3 days or something like that. And I don't even think I finished the end of the book, but we started reading it like, cause I was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. You know what? I don't think I can get on the interstate over here. But I was like, oh, you know, my friend I saw at the gym when we were there, and he and his wife are reading it together, and we should do that. I think we did it for like one night, and then we were like, okay, we're just gonna read this on our own. I think that's what happened. But the other thing that I did see, and I actually saw this on an episode of Oprah, and it was this couple. I wish I could find this video. It was this couple, and what they did it every night, you guys, for like 10 or 15, 20 years or something like that. They kept a gratitude journal. They each kept a gratitude journal just on their marriage, and every day they would write down like 5 things or 10 things or whatever that they were grateful for the other person. And at the end of the day, they would read it to each other. Like, they would open it, and then I would say, so we did it. We did it like 3 to 6 months before we got married, and it was, oh my God, it was incredible. So you would like open it, and you'd say, Alex, I'm grateful for you taking the trash out today. Alex, I'm grateful for you telling me that I looked handsome today. Alex, I'm grateful for, you know, you. It could be anything from that to like little things to, you know, big thing, like for always being there for me and, you know, having my back and whatever. That helped our marriage, or that helped our relationship so much in just a different kind of way. We started appreciating each other and the small things about each other that we had never seen before. And that was super, super helpful. And then that book that we read in counseling, I can't remember what it was called. It was so good. I should actually do a Peterisms video about the whole, like the 12 things of intimacy, because that was, like, that's probably one of the most helpful things I've ever learned in my entire life, about there being all different kinds of forms of intimacy, and it's not just, you know, physical intimacy, but it's emotional intimacy, and it's, you know, financial intimacy, and it's recreational intimacy, family intimacy, spiritual intimacy. There's all these different forms of intimacy, and the idea is that, and there's physical intimacy too, emotional intimacy, did I say that already? Intellectual intimacy, but there's 12 forms of them, and the more connected you are on all of these forms of intimacy, the more, like, let's say, you know, if there's 12 forms of intimacy and you're like screwing all the time, right? Okay, so that's physical intimacy, but there's no emotional connection there, there's no spiritual connection, there's no intellectual connection, blah, 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 whatever. Then you really, how connected are you to that person other than just that? So, but then let's take it the other way. So, for example, if you're emotionally connected, spiritually connected, intellectually connected, financially connected to this person, right, then it makes your physical connectedness and your physical intimacy so much better, like 100 times better, right? Because you just like are so connected to this person on this level. Well, I never had thought about it that way, right? And so when we sat there and we started thinking about like, well, we had some work to do on some forms of intimacy, you know? And like, for an example, like, you don't necessarily have to see eye to eye. Like, intellectual intimacy is actually just talking about, I think there's philosophical intimacy too, but intellectual intimacy is like talking about ideas with the other person. So that could be sitting there and having a conversation, an open-ended conversation, you know, about, you know, your partner, about politics or books or art or current events or world issues. So it's not just sitting there at dinner on your phone, but it's actually sitting there and engaging in a conversation, you know? And then the other thing was that, like, you know, Alex is an atheist and I'm a very spiritual person. And, you know, a lot of people always ask, like, how do you make that work in your relationship? Well, it's called respect. And it's called hearing the other person's side and me respecting the fact that he is an atheist and why he is, you know? And that there's a reason that he is. It isn't just something that he's like, I'm a non-believer, it's foolish. There's reasons why, and I respect those reasons, you know? And I'm interested to hear him tell me his ideas. Just because they don't work for me does not mean that I agree or disagree with them. They're just not my ideas. They're not what I need for me, you know? But they work for him. And he respects highly my spiritual beliefs, you know? He'll say things to me like, you know, like if we're gonna go somewhere and I haven't done, like, he'll be like, do you need to meditate or pray, like, before we go? And I'll be like, no, I'm good, you know, whatever I did this morning, or, you know. And I mean, he's very respectful of that. You know, there was a long time when I actually got down on my knees and I prayed. I don't do that as much as I did before. Sometimes I feel like I need to, but I didn't before. It humbles me before my higher power. That's why I used to do it a lot. And I'm not saying that I don't need to be humbled. I still need to, but I just believe that my higher power and like listens where I'm at today. So I haven't been doing that as much as I used to. But there was a long period that I did when I, you know, came back into recovery. And at night, like, with him sitting there literally on his phone or reading a book, because he read a lot back then. He doesn't read anymore, really, but he doesn't read at all anymore. But, you know, he's reading articles or, you know, looking at stuff on Instagram. I would get on my knees next to the bed and, like, pray, you know? He was never disrespectful. He was always very respectful, very sweet about it, you know? And that's what, so we have spiritual intimacy because we respect each other's beliefs or lack thereof, which, in all honesty, atheism is a belief itself, you know? And we've asked each other and we've talked about that, and I can tell you that Alex could probably, you know, next to Tanya and my sponsor, because they share similar beliefs, I think that Alex could probably define my spiritual beliefs to somebody else better than anybody besides the two of them, if that makes sense, you know? So, I don't know. But yeah, the forms of intimacy, they're super, super helpful. I just, like, lost my thought for a second. It was, like, right when I was talking about, like, my mind started going off in a different direction. We were actually, I was thinking about this one time that I can't remember. It's been a couple years. It's been probably 5 or 6 years. But this was before we ever even had any idea what the forms of intimacy were. But somebody was kind of like firing questions to me about my spiritual beliefs. And I remember, like, we were like at a dinner and Alex kind of like stepped in and he was like, it's what he believes and that's enough. And I remember that, you know, and it's like, I love my husband. and I'm ready to go on vacation with my husband and get away from Indianapolis for a little while and just be by the pool and have some fun times and go see some shows and get dressed real cute. And I'm just ready for some fun times in Las Vegas. We love Las Vegas. We booked our Miami trip. Did I say that on here already? A couple days ago. We're so excited. We're staying in a new place this year, and we're gonna be there for, I think, 6 nights this time. I think I booked it 6 nights. We fly in Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Fly back Tuesday, or do we fly back on Wednesday? Or maybe we go Wednesday and we get back on Tuesday. No. I think we come back Wednesday. I think I booked it. I think we leave Thursday, so we have a day before the festival. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, come back Wednesday. But we fly in Thursday morning. So we have all day Thursday, all day Friday, all day Saturday before the festival, all day Sunday before the festival, unless we go to the festival during the day. And then Monday, Tuesday, and then we don't fly out until like 7 in the evening. So it's like a direct flight, so we get back at like 10:30, which is like, it's like a 2.5 hour, 2 hours and 50 minutes, I think it's the flight. So we have like 7 days like during the day, because the couple times ago, was it last year or the year? It was 2 years ago. The day we flew out, we were gonna like, I probably vlogged about this. We were like walking around, and then Alex was like, do you want to just go back to the pool? Because we were going to go eat somewhere and then go to the airport, and we didn't have to be at the airport till like 4 or 5. And I was like, yeah, sure. And so I didn't have a bathing suit because my bag was already packed and everything was away. And so I stopped at one of those stores. Alex had one in his backpack, and I bought, what do you call it? I bought bought a bathing suit, and then we went and laid out by the pool. It was really nice. And then we stayed out by the pool, and I remember we went in the little bathroom that they had by the pool at our hotel, and we like changed, and then and then we went to the airport. We were out there all that last day. It was really nice. It was fun. That was kind of the way to do it. Well, I think I'm going to listen to my audiobooks now so I can get caught up on it a little bit. And so I'm going to get off here. And what is tomorrow? Friday? Oh my God, tomorrow's Friday! Thank God it's Friday. It's the beginning of the weekend. I hope you guys are having an amazing weekend, unless you have other plans. But I hope you're having an amazing Friday, unless you have other plans. But like I always say, don't have other plans. Enjoy your Friday. Enjoy the beginning of your weekend. Make it the best weekend of your life. What are you going to do this weekend? What are you going to do? You're going to binge watch a TV show? Are you like Orange is the New Black? Are you going to read a book? Are you going to go see some great movie? Are you going to go on a date? What are you going to do? Have the greatest day ever today and the best weekend possible. Have some real fun. Are you going to sleep in? Are you going to go to brunch? Are you going to make brunch? I was telling Alex earlier, we were watching Pose, and this guy makes this other guy breakfast, and it's like orange juice and bacon and an omelet or scrambled eggs or something and toast and all. And I'm like, I said to Alex, because it's so how I would think, right? I go, like, who has all that stuff in their refrigerator just to make like a full breakfast? And he looked over at me and he goes, almost everybody. And I go, really? I go, like, maybe when I was growing up. And I said, and my mom would always have like stuff because she went to the grocery. And he goes, yeah, like everybody that we know would have all that stuff to make a full breakfast. I was like, only me that would think like, well, you'd have to, if you wanted to make that, you'd actually have to go to the grocery store. And then by the time that I got to the grocery store, I would probably just think, well, we could go through McDonald's and get breakfast. Or I would want to get those cinnamon rolls where you take the spoon and you hit that thing and then it pops open, you know what I mean? And there's never enough frosting for the cinnamon rolls on there. I love that. But anyway, do you know what I'm talking about back in the day? The cinnamon rolls that come in the biscuit things. I love those. So anyway, have the greatest Friday and the greatest weekend of your life. Have an amazing Friday and amazing weekend, unless you have other plans. But don't have other plans. Just enjoy your weekend and your Friday. And if nobody else has told you, do something exciting. I'm telling you, that's an order. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Tell it to yourself every single day. I am loved. I am worthy. I am important. I am beautiful. Look in the mirror and tell yourself every single day, I love you. And most importantly, pass it on to somebody else. We all need to hear it. Let somebody else in your life know how important they are to you and how much they mean to you. And be kind, be caring, be compassionate. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya.